I'm Martin Webster and I'm from the New Leaf Programme. We're talking now about Milton patterns and how to use Milton patterns. You might find this to be done consciously or unconsciously. Either way, you will find the more unconscious you go, the easier it will be to understand Milton patterns. Okay, so let's start off now with cause and effect. Cause and effect. The more times you use these patterns, the easier it gets. As you are sitting here, and as you notice how you feel, and you can hear my voice, and you may also be aware of other sounds, no matter how slight. You may also begin to become aware of how easy it would be to allow your eyes to close right now. Causal links, and it is the weakest, and it is the weakest. You can use these words, these sentences, to place into your meditation, your therapy that you're designing. If you're a trainer, you can use these Milton patterns to enhance your hypnotic language patterns. The more you try to do them consciously, the harder they will become. So just relax, cause and effect, and the more times you use these patterns, the easier it gets, And as you are sitting here, and as you notice how you feel, and you can hear my voice, and you may also be aware of other sounds, no matter how slight. You may also begin to become aware of how easy it could be to allow your eyes to close right now. Causal links, cause and effects. The more times you use these patterns, the easier it gets. And as you begin to wonder what it would be like to close your eyes right now, and as you continue to become aware of other sounds, such as the little noise this computer makes, and as the clock ticks, this would allow you to allow your eyes to close right now, and it makes you want to relax more. Causal links, and the more times you repeat these patterns, the easier it gets. As you're sitting here, and as you notice how you feel, and you can hear my voice, and you can hear the tone of that computer, and you may also become aware of other sounds, no matter how slight. You may also begin to become aware of how easy it would be to allow your eyes to close right now. Causal links, and it is weakest. Cause and effect, and the more times you use these patterns, the easier it gets. And as you begin to wonder what it would be like to close your eyes right now, and as you continue to become aware of other sounds, as the clock ticks, as that sound on the computer, this makes you want to allow your eyes to close right now, and this makes you want to relax even more. Causal links. As you hear that sound, pace and lead. As you state the facts of what you want them to do to achieve your collective outcome, such as and, makes, persuades, forces you to, as you, so you may also. And as you follow that sensation back into the past, as you persuade your conscious and your unconscious mind to effortlessly, and forces you to shift, so you may feel relaxed, a relaxed situation, remembering that you are in control at all times. But you did know that, didn't you? But you did know that, didn't you? Pace and lead, and makes, persuades, forces you to, as you, so you may also. Awareness predicates. A word that is awareness about the subject. I know. I didn't know. Remembered. Considered. Think. Explain. Awareness. You may be aware, I don't know how much, but as you begin to remember and consider your past, how you can't think about that problem anymore, no matter how much you try to explain it, it doesn't make any sense. Awareness predicates. I know. I didn't know. Remember. Considered. think, explain, awareness. And by using these, you will enhance your meditation, your relaxation, your use of HMS therapy. A word that is awareness about the subject. Awareness predicates. Any word that considers the unconscious to be totally aware. You may be aware from the Milton patterns using HMS therapy, or may not have considered how much you know already. I bet you have probably experimented with the language in the past. Perhaps you've used it consciously or unconsciously. Imagine the results you could achieve as you notice how much your unconscious struggles to process negatives. You probably knew this already, didn't you? And all of the practice is liable to lead to a well-informed outcome, isn't it? Remember, you are totally in control at all times. Remember, you are totally in control at all times. You don't have to remember any of this consciously. And as you hear that beep on the computer, it just allows you to relax even more. Awareness predicates. Awareness predicates. Mind reading, the most direct way of using awareness predicates. I know that you understand these from doing your practitioner training. You know how to get a result with your client. You can also guess the outcome. You thought you would succeed with your first client, and you were right to think that. In a sense, you presupposed that it was going to happen the next before they even told you how they felt. As usual, you're going to focus on the specific result, aren't you? Mind reading. I know that you know that you understand these from doing your practitioner training. You know how to get a result with your client. You can also guess the outcome. You thought you would succeed with your first client, and you were right to think that. In a sense, you presupposed what was going to go well before they even told you how they felt. Presuppositions. It's difficult to have a conversation with an assumption. Without an assumption, the person knows something about the subject. When you think of a memory, notice how different it is now, how different it feels. For example, this example from HMS therapy shows how stacking presuppositions will prove powerful. Stacking presuppositions. I know how you will know, but consciously or unconsciously, you will work it out. Once you have worked it out, whether now or in a few moments' time, but before the end of this slide, you will work it out. You will work it out. A presupposition. It's difficult to have a conversation without an assumption that the person knows something about the subject. You will be able to use these as you form your meditation or your therapy that you're designing. Milton patterns. Milton pattern hypnotic language. Write a guided meditation highlighting and utilising causal links, cause and effect, and, as the, and as you begin, makes, as you, so you may also. Awareness predicates. I know, I don't know, remember, considered, think, awareness. And presuppositions. I know, you know. Use these words now. Go back over meditations, go through HMS therapy, and pick out the causal links. Pick out the awareness predicates. Pick out the presuppositions, and then use them to your advantage. Use them when you're working with your clients. Milton patterns can only be done unconsciously. You have the ability to use these, and I know that you can do this, and you know that. Well-informed outcomes. A specific goal that has an ecology to be achieved. Every word you use has potential to have an effect now and in 20 years' time. Being precise with your client is a good discipline. Practice, practice, and practice. But you knew that, didn't you? You knew that, didn't you? Well-informed outcomes. A specific goal that has the ecology to be achieved. Every word that you use has potential to affect now and in 20 years' time. Being precise with your clients is a good discipline. Practice, practice, practice. You have the ability to achieve outstanding results. But you always knew that, didn't you? That's right. Good luck, and look forward to the next slide, which will be meta model. Milton Erickson, The Boiler Room. I want you to relax. I'm going to tell you a story. It's a bit of history about Milton Erickson, Dr. Milton Erickson, and I want you to describe how Milton Erickson was a real pioneer in his field, because he would always look to push himself as a human being. Known as a prolific hypnotherapist, he really wanted to test the hypnotherapy that he learned, and he decided to go to a boiler house where he knew that the most loudest noises and intense industrial noises would be going on around him. If he could relax while all this noise was going on around him, paying attention or not paying attention, and letting go consciously, he could really test himself. So he knocked on the door of this huge boiler house that was down the road from where he lived. He knocked on the door and he spoke to the foreman and said who he was, that he was a doctor and he was performing hypnotherapy, and would it be possible for him to sleep in the boiler house as an experiment to see how he could slip into his unconscious mind and go deep into a level, an unconscious state that he'd never reached before, where he would switch off everything he knew consciously and allow his unconscious to take him deep into his own. So he did this. And as he began to make his way into the boiler house, the noise, the steel factory, the molten steel that was pouring out of the blast furnace, he went into a place, a corner, where the most noise was. Now, I don't know about you, but if that was me, I'd have really found that really difficult. Because remember, being in a blast furnace, the intense noise would have really hard to shut out. I mean, just consider that for 1 second. Think about it. I mean, how aware was Milton Erickson about his environment? And I don't know, what he really felt. But he grabbed the blanket and he pulled it around himself. And he started to go into a deep hypnotic trance. And as he did that, you know what it's like, it makes you feel originally, at the beginning, a little bit wary of what's about, as all the industrial noises were sending him deeper and deeper into a relaxed state. So Milton Erickson just dropped deeper and deeper and deeper into this relaxed state, where he'd shut out all the noise to the point where he couldn't even hear a pin drop. And for so many, I don't know. How would you feel? Remember what it was like to be in something so loud. Consider what he was going through. Think about it. The awareness you must need to have to switch off everything around you, consciously and unconsciously. So even the sound of a beep just makes you drop deeper and deeper into relaxation. Milton Erickson just allowed himself to go deeper and deeper into his unconscious. And I know, as you hear this story, you were probably wondering you wouldn't be able to do something like that in this day and age because of health and safety. This was in the last century, where health and safety was a bit more lax. People were more relaxed around dangerous environments. And I expect you've been in a dangerous environment, but been able to shut everything out around you, any noise. Milton Erickson in the morning came back round, and he realised that he's gone to sleep. He went to sleep in one of the most noisiest industrial places possible, but he learned a lot from that experiment. And it allowed him to become a more proficient and effective therapist with working with his clients. And I don't know about you, but I find by switching everything off, consciously, you get the better results with clients. And that's what Milton Erickson was a master of. And you're going to become a master of it. And when you're ready, come back into your conscious mind.